young boys are at their grandparents' house. It's time for bed. Grandma says, okay, you guys got to go to bed now, but don't forget your prayers. So they go into their room and they get down on their knees. And the youngest one, these kids are like 4 and 6, the 4-year-old starts shouting out his prayers. God, please bring me a new bike. Please bring me a new PlayStation. Please bring me a new baseball glove. And the other older one says, whoa, why are you shouting so much? God, it doesn't have a deaf problem. And the younger one goes, yeah, but Grandma does. I want to talk to you today about the odds being in your favor. It's really easy to imagine that the odds aren't, but before I get into that, I did some research, like I like to do, into the words, and I found out some really interesting things. The word odds really comes from the word odd, which is a Nordic word that simply means angle and point, like a triangle. They used to talk about it as a piece of land. Then that somehow got morphed into meaning more than even. I don't know what they did with the number 1 when they came up with that. But that's what they came up with, more than even, and it was called odd. Shakespeare decided to add an S to it. Now, I look up a lot of words. This is the first time I was able to trace one back to a specific person. Shakespeare decides to put an S on it for his play Henry IV and created the meaning of, the odds, meaning that somebody's in favor over somebody else. Now the word favor. The favor originally meant to kindness. To do a kindness. To have a kindness. So I'm here to tell you about the odds being in your favor and how it's easy to feel like they're not. I mean, after all, a huge percentage of small businesses fail every single year. In our country, we have over a 50% divorce rate. Cancer, autoimmune disease, and all these other life-threatening diseases, they're going up and up in their sense of, people having it in the country and in the world. And so it becomes very easy to get a feeling for how the odds are against us. But it just isn't the case. I heard a story about a man who said, I'm an addict. My father was an addict. My grandfather was an addict. The odds are really against me getting out of this. But I say to you, no. That what you have within you, what you have within every cell of your body, is the most high power of the universe. The same power that created the stars and the heavens is in you. It is your job to call it forth, to call it from out of the inner cells of your body, so that you can feel, because if you really knew that you had that kind of power, what odds could be against you? How could the odds be against you no matter what's going on if what's within you is something so great as created the Big Bang and everything else around us? It's up to us to call it forth. So I had this very opportunity yesterday. My glasses around 2 o'clock in the afternoon broke. And usually when I'm up here, I need them to read something in my notes. So being the man of faith I am, I flipped out, called my wife, and said, my glasses just broke. What am I going to do? And she goes, wait a minute. Aren't you doing a talk on odds are in your favor and remembering how powerful you are? And I was like, oh yeah, that's what I was working on when my glasses broke. So I said, okay, we did a treatment together. I got off the phone, got on the internet, found Lens Crafter, which is the closest eyeglass store around here, ran over there, and they said, no problem. We can't fix these ones you have, but we'll get you new glasses before the end of the day. And they did. Now, here's the funniest part about all that. That wasn't the only thing I was having problems with yesterday. I bought an electric car, as many of you know, and I have not once been able to get the electric charge point in front of Vaughn's to work in my car. Not once. I've been over there, and I have the app in my phone, and I hit the app, and it turns the thing on, and the second I grab for the thing, it turned it back off again. And it's been doing that. I've had the car now 2 months. It's been doing that every time I tried. I've called customer service, and they keep telling me, we don't know why it's doing that to you. It doesn't do it to anybody else. So yesterday, I started thinking about how, the odds are in my favor. I think I've been holding this the wrong way. And I went over there, and for the first time, it worked. And I got to charge my car, which was a really good thing, because I showed up yesterday with only enough charge to make it home. And so when I had to make that extra trip to LensCrafter, I now didn't have enough charge to make it home. So it was a good thing that yesterday was the day it finally decided to work, which is incredible because what we teach in this teaching is perfect and right time. Isn't that what we teach here? Everything happens in perfect and right time. Yesterday was the perfect and right time day. Another thing I did for the very first time yesterday is plant trees. I got to plant 2 trees around our property with 2 more to go. That was really fun, planting a tree. So I had time to do that, put my talk together for today, and get my glasses done, all in a space that it would have been easy, and certainly was, since that's what happened first, to flip out about it and go, oh no, I'm in trouble here. But we have this power, this incredible power that is within us. And if we recognize it and walk through our day, imagine walking through your day thinking about, I know the odds are in my favor. I know that I have everything I need for my dreams to come true, no matter what the odds are against it. No matter what the odds are against it. I heard this incredible story about this woman who was from a dirt poor family in Mississippi. She was raped at age 9. And friends of her mother's sexually abused her for years. She got pregnant at 14 and her kid died in infancy. When she came of age, she went to broadcasting school. And when she got out, she actually scored a job as a news anchor for one day, was fired, and told she would never work in television. For the next 12 years, she was harassed, sexually harassed, humiliated, embarrassed, ran into obstacle after obstacle after obstacle, and if that wasn't bad enough, she was black. Oprah then scored her first job as a daytime host of a morning show, and in 1986, went on to create the most successful talk show ever in the history of television. She could have easily said, the odds are against me. Nobody likes black people on television. Nobody's going to give me that job. I got raped. I'm a statistic. She could have easily fallen back on any of that, and nobody would have blamed her. Nobody would have blamed her for settling for less. But what got her through when she was interviewed about this was she said, I had a faith that there was something in me larger than was so far showing up. And one of the ways in which I brought that forward was by constantly thinking of myself as a queen. And would always ask myself, what would a queen do now? Can you imagine growing up in the circumstances she grew up in and still thinking of herself as a queen? That's why Ash runs the Queen Circle. And that's why every one of you women should be there Wednesday night, because it teaches you how to raise up that queenness in yourself. She's really good at that. There's another story about a kid, a teenage kid, youngest in his family, who had two older brothers who were incredibly strong and powerful and warriors, And the dad, he really favored these two older brothers. He didn't really care about this one kid, so he sent them out to herd the sheep. And while the kid's out there, not having anything else to do except hang out with sheep and his slingshot, he starts tossing it around all the time and getting really good at it and hitting this and hitting that. And then one day, a king's emissary shows up at the house going, I'm looking for one of your sons to help us. The king got a premonition, a sign that we need one of your sons to save us from these invading giants. And so, of course, the dad says, well, look, here are my two incredibly warrior sons. I'm sure one of them can help you. And the man says, no, I'm not looking for them. There must be another one around here somewhere. And the dad was like, no. And he's like, and the emissary just looked at him and said, yeah, you have another son. Where is he? You can't be talking about the one out herding the sheep. He's a little scrawny kid. But they went out and got him and brought him back. And the emissary looked at him and said, you're the one and he's looking at him, seeing this little scrawny kid going, well, you're the one that we were told to come get. I don't see how you're going to do this, but come with me. And so this little scrawny kid goes and is brought out, because in those days, one of the ways in which they settled fights, big battles, was instead of having 1 million people killed, each army would send out its best warrior to fight each other, and whoever won the battle, and not a lot of people had to die. So David is sent out to the front lines and sees this huge guy, Goliath, in front of him. My guess is he was a little scared. But something within him must have known. Something. Because looking up at that guy, what kind of odds do you think he had to beat him? And yet all he did was get his slingshot ready with one shot, hit him right between the eyes, and he falls down dead. And he goes on to become this incredible king. I love this story. Now, would this story been as impactful if who he had to fight was another scrawny little kid? Nah. So I think sometimes what happens for us is we have these huge obstacles presented to us so that we can remember who we truly are, so that the divine that is within us has an opportunity to rise. It is in our biggest obstacles, our biggest challenges, that our biggest opportunities show up. It is where we get to tell our greatest stories. Right? It wouldn't have been such a great story. I couldn't be sitting. He got up in front of this other really scrawny kid, and he hit him in the head with his slingshot, and the little kid broke into 1 million pieces right there in front of him. It just doesn't make for the same kind of story as getting up in front of Goliath. It doesn't make for the same kind of story if Oprah came from this really well-to-do family that had millions anyway, and had a very supportive mom and loving family, and then she got out there and she was successful. Who wants to listen to that? How inspiring is that? Instead, I think sometimes we are destined to be the inspiration not just for ourselves, but for others. That it is in the largest of the obstacle that we get to rise. And the thing about it is we got to get out of the way of this incredible, magnificent power that is in our bones. It is not up for us to know how. It is up to us to know it's done. That's what we teach here. We teach how to get out of the way of getting our gears out of the way of the divine and letting the divine do the work. Our work is to know that we are that divine power. Our work is to know that this is something, since it's my dream, since this is my obstacle, since this is my opportunity, I must have what it takes to overcome this, to be better than this, to transform this, to rise it up to something greater than what it is that is sitting in front of me now. I was in the hospital and told I had 3 days to live. Many of you have heard this. The doctors are standing around me. They've gone, we've done everything we can. You really now need to get your affairs in order. You have 3 days and you're going to die. That no one in the history of mankind has survived what it is you're going through right now. So you better get your affairs in order. Now, the only thing I knew at that moment was that I wasn't going to die. I didn't know how. I didn't know what was going to come of all that. But I knew, this didn't really feel like my time. Even with a room full of doctors telling me, yeah, this is your time, and I'm going, not so much. And so when they left, what I did was, I'm sitting there going, well, if this isn't my time, best not to be around people who think it is. And so I called the nurse, said, I'm going home. And they said, you can't do that. And I said, actually, I can. And then pulled the IVs out of my arm. And I went home. And that was now 24 years ago. So it seems the doctors were wrong. We have this power within us. We have this ability to rise up. We have within us everything we need to create a life, no matter what others tell us. There's only one fact. No matter what anybody tells you, there's only one fact. That is that you are a powerful, creative, spiritual being whose life can work magnificently to the extent you're willing to accept yourself as a powerful, creative, spiritual being. That you have this power within you to rise. It's not about giving up once things get tough. It's about bringing your faith up. Don't give up. Bring your faith up. Bring up your knowing. To abandon the truth in our hour of need is to not understand the truth. This is really simple. Hard, not easy. Wasn't even easy for me yesterday, and all I did was break my glasses. Luckily I had somebody I could call and go, hey, who would go, no, you're bigger than this. That's what you guys need too. We all do. We all need somebody who's going to tell us, you're bigger than this. Not commiserate with you and buy into it with you, but actually lift you up. Lift you up to something greater, something higher, something that actually matters, which is the power that is within us all the time. I heard a story about a couple. The wife was pregnant, and they told their 4-year-old son about this pregnancy. And the 4-year-old son came to the mom's belly every single day for the entire pregnancy and sang, "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are blue." Every day for the entire pregnancy. The wife had the baby, but the baby came out with a ton of complications. So bad, in fact, the doctors all said, your baby has less than a week to live. And the parents thought, well, if the baby's only got less than a week to live, I want her brother to meet her. And so even though the baby was in intensive care, and kids weren't allowed in intensive care, they tried to sneak in the 4-year-old boy anyway to meet his sister. Nurse caught him and goes, hold on, you can't come in here. You can't come in here. While the parents are arguing with the nurse, the little boy recognizes which one is his sister, goes over to that incubator and starts singing, "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are blue. And the vital signs on the little baby got better. And the nurse saw it and said, hold on, keep singing, keep singing. And the boy just kept singing to his sister, day in and day out, until the baby was fine and went home and lived a great life. That little baby didn't buy into what the doctors were saying, what the adults said. I mean, adults know better, right? This little baby, this little boy just went up to his sister and said, you're with me. We're together in this. And I know you come home with me. That's what can be known when all the odds seem against you. It doesn't matter what's going on. The odds are in your favor. It doesn't matter whether it's cancer, autoimmune, whether somebody thinks they're dying of this or HIV or that. It does not matter. We have the most amazing power within every cell of our body, and what it is, our job is to know it beyond all logic. Not to know how, to know that it's done. Don't give up. Rise up. There's so much more going on here for all of us. You can have everything you want in life. All you've got to do is know it and get the support you need when you forget. Thank you. All right. Take out what you're going to give. Hold it in your hand. Unfold it. Unfold it. Whether it's $1, $100, $1,000, if diamonds, whatever it is, hold it in your hand, because this is energy. This is love. This is God itself. When you don't want to be crinkling it up, you want to be using this for the energy it is to create that law of a circulation that you want to have in your life. So we take it out and we hold it and we know it. We know that this is for us. This is for life itself. This is not just money, this is God. And we say our affirmation together. God is the source of all supply. Money is God in action. What we give, we receive multiplied abundantly. All that God is, I am. And so it is.